Okay, we are live. All right, guys, welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to have Evan Carmichael here today. Evan, excited to talk to you about 2000 book. I mean, not only 2000 books.
I like it.
Uh, Sorry, I have my two feeds going on at the same time, so I was listening to myself as I was talking, which is not cool. Anyways, so super excited to have Evan here today to talk about his new book, Top 10 Rules for Success. Evan, welcome.
Thanks for having me, man. Excited to be here.
Thanks for being here, man. I really enjoyed the format of this book. In many ways, this is like it's like something I can put by my bedside and read whenever I want to like delve into something new, or I want to learn a new idea from someone, or just like maybe it's my morning thing, as you suggest. It's one of those things that really is it's not, as you said, don't read it like a book. It's more of a journal that you go back to again and again and again.
Yeah, the idea is I want people to change their mindset, and I want you to be surrounded with some of the most successful people on the planet today and inject a little bit of them into you every day. And I think you get a lot more value when you do that every single day in a little dose than just ramming through the book. And I'm sure you get this in other books too. Like while you're reading the book, you're really intense on it, right? Like you did the book about habits. So while you're in the habit book, you're thinking about all your habits, you're making all these changes and you want to apply it. And then once you're done the book, you move to another book. You start forgetting about the last book you just did. And all of that training is kind of gone. And so what I really wanted to do was have a way for people to get that mindset, slowly start to shift and change and get better, where every day you get two genius ideas from some of the most successful people on the planet. If you did that every day, you can't help but learn to become more successful, not necessarily in the actions you do, but in your mindset, which will then guide the actions.
Yeah, I fully agree with you. And it's learning without action is useless. I always say this. I always say this on our site as well, on our YouTube channel, that if you're not taking action, all that learning is going to waste. So, guys, you're watching, you're listening, whatever you learn today, even if you take action on one idea that you learned from this interview today, it will be worth all the time you spend on it. So just take one idea, put it into action, and that's all you need to do. You don't need to have all the 25 ideas working at the same time. It just doesn't work.
I love it. I agree.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of your favorites, and we'll talk about my favorites. You have quite a few over there, but one of the favorites, I guess, both of us kind of like, is raising your standards, and that's something that Tony Robbins talks about more than anyone else. But it's so crucial, and it's almost like people keep wondering why they're not accomplishing their goals. They set their goals in the new year, and then at the end of the year nothing happened, and then again you set goals and then nothing happened. Well, there's a big difference between setting your goals and making it a must for yourself. Make Rather than I should do this, it becomes I must do this.
Yeah. So that's rule number 3 in the book, raise your standards. And what the book is about is basically the most common rules, again, that all these successful people have in common. They said it over and over and over and over again. And raising your standards is rule number 3, one of the most important ones. And you see that, like, when people make this shift of what they are no longer willing to accept in their life,
Hmm.
that's when things start to change. That's the idea behind even the idea of reading one page a day or whatever else the thing is. Like, because we've all had these moments where we felt like we wanted to raise our standards and we felt bold and we wanted to do something bigger and different and uncomfortable. Like, this is the new me. This is the thing that I want to be. We've put our toe in the pool and then we back away. Right? They're like, oh, you know what? I can't do that. That's too different. Right? The key thing is, how do I get into that pool and stay there? And that comes down to your habits and your mindset and your routines. Whatever allowed you to feel that boldness, to feel that desire to raise your standards, and you acted that day. Like, maybe people listening, watching this today, they feel, yes, I'm going to raise my standards, and they actually feel it. That doesn't mean it's going to continue tomorrow or the next day,
Yeah.
the next day, right? So they have one day of race standards and maybe they get something great accomplished, but then they fall back to the norm.
Yeah.
And that's the idea, is you're moving the line of where that norm is.
Yeah.
and
And
you
the
build
other
that your habits
and
and
the other
routines.
thing about raising your standards in some ways is like you raise your standards just by being around good people, by being around people who are accomplishing at a higher level, people who are hitting at a higher level. And you touch on this rule quite a lot. Like a lot of the guys in the book talk about it. I think Les Brown, or of course Jim Rohn. He's not one of the ones that's in the book, but I'm sure his teachings are seeped in the book because of all the people who have come from the lineage of Jim Rohn. And he talks about how we're the average of the five people we hang out with, and that literally sets our standards.
Yeah. And honestly, that's one of the main reasons behind my YouTube channel and the main reasons behind the book is because I looked at the 5 people in my life and they're amazing people, but nobody's pushing me forward to say, "Evan, like what you've done is awesome, but you could do so much more." I will never meet Steve Jobs, right? Like it's not possible. Maybe there's another life somewhere that,
Mhm.
it's all going to happen, but I'm never going to meet Steve Jobs. But I consider him to be part of one of my 5. Like there's 5 people on the wall behind me, you know? And so by hanging around these people on a daily basis, it slowly injects more boldness and more confidence and more standard raising. Like if you're reading that book, the idea of raising standards comes up very often,
Mhm.
right? It's rule number 3. It comes up consistently. And so if you're reading that 2 pages or 1 page a day, 2 rules every day, and it hits you on the Monday, and then it hits you again on the Friday, and it hits you again on the next Tuesday. Like that consistency, the more you hear it, and in different ways. Jim Rohn will say it one way, not in the book, but Les Brown will say it one way, and Tony Robbins will say it one way, and maybe the Dalai Lama says it in another way, right? And the more you hear it from different voices, the more it starts to seep in, and it
Mhm.
becomes a part of your identity, and you start to raise your standards. And
Yeah.
so, I agree that you are the product of the people that you are hanging out with. I just extend it to be not just the 5 physical people in your life. It's the people who you meet on YouTube and the authors that you read books from, right? Because some people may be spending more time with me than they are with their actual friends. Like in watching, think about if you're watching a video a day that's 20 minutes long, that's probably spending more time with me than you're spending with your best friends every day,
That's true
right?
on the
So like
average.
now I'm in your 5, right? And that's fine. Like if I'm pulling you up, then great, keep me in your 5. If my message is irrelevant to you or I pull you down, kick me out. Put somebody else in the top 5, right? And so the goal with my channel was selfish for myself because I wanted to improve my 5. I wanted to improve the people that I'm around so that they pull me up to accomplish more.
Yeah, no, that's great. And one of the things that's like a consistent message amongst all these people, and it's one of your favorites as well, is hard work. I think, unfortunately, today, I think Tim Ferriss has partly to do with it, but also the way the culture has been. Like people want to talk about the 4 hour work week and the fact that it's good enough to only work for 4 hours, so just make passive income and live a lifestyle. It's an insidious notion, but as you go through this book, as you read this book, you realize every one of them has busted their ass. They've worked really hard to make this happen. Hard work. There are no there are no trade-offs in the realm of hard work. There literally is no way around hard work. That's one constant, no matter where we go, no matter what field of endeavor it is, whether it's entrepreneurship, being an actor, being an athlete, being a sports star, whoever, being a musician, wherever you go, hard work is not going to leave you alone, or you get in trouble.
Yeah, and so work hard is rule number 5 in the book. And I think so first of all, Tim Ferriss, I love him. For Our Work Week, was an amazing book, one of my favorites of all time. And Tim works his ass off too. If you
Yeah.
know Tim and what he's doing, he's not just working a 4-hour work week. The difference is though, like what you consider work. The idea with that book and that concept was you're not working that much. You have time to go off and do other things, but not just do leisure, do things that are meaningful and impactful. And so the people in the book that we profiled, yes, they all work really hard, but they also don't consider it work.
Hmm.
It's an extension of their mission and what they're trying to accomplish. They like it. You know, I like making YouTube videos. I like what I'm doing. I make 3 videos a day. That's a ton of work, right? Other
Yeah.
people would look at my schedule and say, that's crazy. You're crazy. I can't do that amount of work. But I would look at Manny's schedule and say, man, how much do you read? I can't read that much. That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't do that. Right. And that's work. Right. But for you, reading, yes, maybe it helps you with, obviously you need to do it for your YouTube channel, but you enjoy it. Right. And so I think that's the difference is you're finding work that you love doing. And not every single day is amazing and you love every part of it. But overall, a lot of it doesn't feel like work because you would do it anyway.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, reading is not work to me as it could be to a lot of people. Just same as making videos and talking about the success stories is probably not work to you either. And at the same time, I mean, I think Tim is a great marketer. Tim has been able to sell the book on that idea. But when you go into the book, it really talks about a lot of other great ideas as to how to manage your time, how to be really strategic with your time while you're setting up a business. And no business is going to work on just 4 hours a week, but the idea is that you're still going to be able to um, uh, sustain, like you're still going to have to work hard, like you're still going to put in a lot of hours. Now whether you call it work or you call it fun in terms of your life's work, or in terms of following your passion, you're still going to put in the hours towards something that you're excited about. That's not going away.
I love it. We
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. The other thing, the other one of my, like, there's so many great ones. I mean, this is one of those books. I guess I'll keep going back, and just like what you said, you keep reading one page here, one page there. Will you just pick it up anytime and you, and get to it? By the way, when is the Kindle version coming out?
Oh man, Kindle is killing me. Kindle. We're working on it, man. So the first book, Your One Word, I did with the publisher, and they were pain to work with through a chunk of the process, but at least everything got done. On doing it ourselves, the Kindle formatting is a whole other beast, and my problem is I don't want it to be crap. Like we could have just use some tool, auto format, post it as a Kindle version, and here you go. But I'm not happy with that. Like I want it to be a good experience. I don't use Kindle myself, but I want it to be a good experience for people who use Kindle. So it's not this just auto formatted piece of garbage. So we're working on it, man. I wish it was like today or yesterday or last week,
Awesome.
but
Awesome.
working our way through. I'll let you
All
know
right.
when it's ready. A whole bunch of people are waiting on it. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I'll be giving out a whole bunch of books as well, the Kindle version. So we'll be posting the link on the video when your Kindle version is going live. So look out for that, guys. Um, the other rule that I think it's kind of not talked about as much, unfortunately, the media and the movies and all that stuff, they make it sound like you don't really have to fail, you are a superhero, you just figure it out, you just do great things in life. But that's not the way it works. Embracing failure, like failure is such an integral part of anyone's journey. Like failure is part of life. Like almost everyone, whether it's again, whether it's Steve Jobs or Tony Robbins or Will Smith, whoever they are, they're all talking about how failure is an integral part of your journey. It's part of who we are. So if we try to run away from failure, we're running away from success.
Yeah, and so that's rule number 6 in the book, and this is one of the messages that I wish I heard when I was younger.
Hmm.
When I first started my very first business, 19 years old, I thought it would be a lot of work, but I was not prepared for how much work and how much failure would be a part of it. And as a result, I was too afraid to tell my friends. I was too embarrassed. Like I'm making $300 a month. I can't afford $20 to go for pizza and beer, right? And so I would tell them I'm too busy. I'm entrepreneur lifestyle, I'm doing my thing. But really it was like I can't afford $20. And I'm sure if I told them, they'd be, somebody would spot me the money or buy me the beer. I just felt too ashamed and embarrassed to do it. Uh and so that concept that you're just going to have instant success is crazy. Like nobody does it. And if you think about your own experience, whenever you're learning anything, you learn to ski, you get up and you fall down the hill. You get up and you fall and you get up and you fall, and eventually you make it down. You don't just get up and you're awesome and you're doing jumps and moguls, right? And so everything, I was looking at my YouTube channel, and the first video I posted was 9 years ago. It's crazy. If you asked me, I would have thought like 6, 7, but it was 9 years ago. And I sucked. It's really, really bad. I'm so nervous. It's so awkward. I'm sitting down. I've got this suit and tie on and perfect, lighting and background. And I was just so nervous doing that video. And I'm glad it's up and I'm not taking it down because it's a lesson in that if you keep going, I think most people can get there way faster than me. I'm 5,000 videos in. You better get good at something if you do it 5,000 times. It's almost impossible not to get good at something if you do it 5,000 times. Um, and I think anybody can get there a lot faster. But I sucked, and it's everybody's story. You've always failed at the beginning. It's your own story. You've always failed. You don't just sit at a piano and know how to play. You play
Yeah.
one note and then you make mistakes, right? And so that was a great message that again comes up in every single episode. And I really wish that I learned it when I was younger. And it's awesome that you're highlighting it here because I think for the people watching, people put too much. They take failure as a personal, like, because I didn't get up and ski down the hill perfectly the first time, I suck as a human being. No, it's just a skill that you need to learn and get better at. That's
Yeah,
it.
yeah. It's so crucial, and I love what Elon Musk said. I think he said something along the lines that if you only do things that are certain, that you are certain about, that will succeed, well, then you're only going to do the easy and the obvious things. You're never really going to venture out and do something great. And it's so true, man. I mean, if we're gonna only do the easy things, our life will be um, a probably just a skeleton of what it could have been.
100%. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah.
Elon's in the book. Was that I don't was that rule in the book? It might be. Um,
May not even be a, yeah, I think expect to fail is one of his
yeah,
rules.
yeah, 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 yeah. I love it.
Yeah,
He was a
yeah,
great story. And again, like if Elon Musk is in your five, right? If you're like if you love Elon Musk and he's in your five, and every day you're consuming a little bit of Elon Musk, you can't help but start to think bigger.
yeah.
Just not possible. If Elon is dropping a little bit in your head every day, you will start to be a little bit more like Elon. It's just going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I think there's a story from Elon. I mean, I did a book review on Elon's biography.
Yeah.
It's on our channel. You guys can search it. But there's this there's a story of Elon, and the reporter asked him. So first, they asked him like, how confident were you that this whole Tesla thing is going to work out? And he's like, yeah, I don't think I wasn't really sure it would work out at all. And the reporter was kind of stunned. He's like, why did you do it? He's like, if something is really important to you, you must do it even if the likely outcome is failure. It's wow. Like when I read that, I literally had to put the book down and think about that for like 2 hours because that's such a vitally important concept. And I could literally look back at my life over the years and see that the things that really made me come alive, the things that were like the highest of the highs in life, were always because I did those things when I believed in them, not because I knew it would be successful, just
Yeah.
because I wanted them that bad, just because the why was so big.
Yeah. I love it. That was in my test audience, one of the most underlying quotes for the Elon Musk section in the book.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people got hit hard with that and spent some time then thinking about it. And that's the point. Like, you know, big kudos to you for putting the book down and then thinking about it. Because most people wouldn't, right? Most people, oh, that's cool. And then you keep reading and then you forgot about that point. And if you don't do the reflection, you're not going to change anything, which is why I'm trying to force the 1 page a day, like 2 minutes to read 1 page and then 3 minutes to just think about it. Like spend 5 minutes in the morning and think about what you had just learned and how that might be relevant to your business or to your life. And so like it's awesome that you did that and you spent the time to reflect. Now 2 hours is awesome. Maybe you don't need that long each time, but it's fine. Like it's great that you did the work where most people don't. I think that's the problem. They just read it and keep going and never apply it.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it is my life's work in some ways. Like, this is what I do. Just like we're talking about, this is something I enjoy doing. So it doesn't feel like work at all. But yeah, whatever time it took me to kind of, and I still think about it, it's never gone now. Like, it's stuck in my head forever. This is something that's going to be like, it's basically literally conceptualize, crystallize something that I may have had already used in some ways, but I never knew that that was a concept by itself, the way he had put it. And I think one of the beauties of what you're doing here with the book is that you're crystallizing all these ideas in the book, and all these great people have said these things. Now, what happens for a lot of people is they might actually be doing some of these things, or they might have done some of these things in the past, but unless someone crystallizes them, unless someone conceptualizes them in specific words, you don't really know why it happened. So you never are able to repeat that performance, repeat that success, repeat those things that you did in the past very well. But once it's conceptualized, once you understand how it's put together, the structure makes it really easy to go back and say, now I get it, now I get it for the rest of my life. Like you can almost um it's yeah, it makes it really easy for you to be able to come back to the idea again and again once it's been crystallized like this.
I love everything you're saying, man, and especially talking about Elon Musk, because he is one of the hardest guys to get good in the video world, good video of, because he goes so deep into scientific stuff and he gets asked so many questions that, at least for me, someone who's looking for success tidbits and advice, he doesn't just come out in bite-sized format and say, here,
Yeah.
right? He's not media trained, and he doesn't care about being media trained. And
No.
so I would be frustrated in that, I look at plans I have to try to make my city better, right? And I think that's big. And then I look at Elon Musk, and he's thinking about like a backup plan for the planet, right? It's like it's a whole other level.
Yeah.
And so I want to be around that more. But in trying to consume, if you just sit down and type Elon Musk and watch his content, a lot of it will be lost on you. A lot of it is irrelevant. A lot of it is not helpful to what you're doing, in part because of him not being a fantastic communicator. And so that's where the idea for like the Mentor Me series came in, is okay, let's spend more time with Elon Musk, but we'll do the work to watch all those videos and can condense down the best 15 minutes that you can then apply to your life, right? So whether it's the videos or whether it's the books, or also like the book summaries for you, here's a high level overview of what happens in this book. And it doesn't prevent them from then going, like, if you like the overview, go read the book, right? Like if
Yeah.
you like the summary and that you want to know more about that piece, now great, thank you, Manny, I know where to go in the book to find it, and you save me the work of having to read the whole thing, and I can go right to that section, right? And
Yeah.
so um
Yeah.
I think
And
that's our job, is making it easier.
yeah, no, you're doing a tremendous job with this. And one of the things that Elon's famous for, and I think Warren Buffett is famous for, and I did not know this about Maya Angelou, that she stopped talking for 5 years after she had a traumatic experience back when she was really young, and she literally read for 5 years. Like she read all the books in her library, in the black library, and then all the books in the white library. So, and Elon Musk, by the way, he read all the books in his school library by the time he was in sixth grade, I think. He had read all the books in his school library by that time. So he ran out of books. So he started reading encyclopedia. And then he read all the encyclopedias. And Warren Buffett, he reads 6 hours a day. So
Crazy.
um, I mean, you guys, whoever, if you're watching, you got to be reading this book, and you got to be reading all, like, reading is one of those great ways to learn. And all these great examples of people who are uh, constantly urging us to go read and underline and highlight and use these ideas again and again. It's amazing.
Yeah, reading almost made it into the list. If you look at like the top 10, it came
Yeah.
up repeatedly. It almost made it in. People get their source of knowledge from different places
Hmm.
sometimes. And so I think the quest for knowledge and improvement is consistent.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets it through reading, although a huge chunk of people do. Um, so it's like 11, rule number 11, read. It
That's
almost
great.
made it into the book.
I agree. I mean, if you're not reading well, then you should watch our summaries, because then you can watch, or you should be watching Evan's channel, because you can watch and learn. Whichever way it is, you should be hungry for knowledge, like hungry for growing yourself and getting better every single day.
I love it.
Yeah. Um, Now another one that was kind of very consistent, a message that I found again and again was, you know, just deciding what you're going to go after and figuring out what you're going to go after, having that vision, having that big picture idea, and then like making sacrifice to make it happen. A lot of the people struggle because the end goal is not clear at all. So when the end goal is not clear, when the vision is not clear, when you haven't even decided what you're going to go after, you end up procrastinating, you end up being lazy, you end up not getting stuff done or not moving anywhere in life. It's like a boat without any destination in the ocean. So having that clarity of vision and saying, this is what I'm going to go after, and going after it is so vital to success. I think Will Smith said it best. He said, decide what you want and just go after it.
Yeah, that's another great one. And if I think of his section in the test audience was like super underlined multiple times
Yeah.
from the people who were reading it. I agree, and also understanding as part of that is that if you have a big mission, you can't do it alone. Like you need to build a team to be able to go far to accomplish something big. And if you can barely lead yourself and get yourself excited by what you're doing, how are you going to inspire a team to come alongside you, right? So in a lot of these cases, whether like sometimes it's the really if you look at Steve Jobs, you think of somebody who's a great communicator and a master salesman, and sharing the vision. And you don't have to be that boastful, you don't have to be that type A personality. And I think a lot of people see themselves of having to be like that. You look at a Steve Jobs or Mark Cuban or these like big loudmouth people who like sharing and talking. And if that's you, Richard Branson, great. If that's you, then do it. But if that's not you, it's okay. That's not the only way to win. You don't have to be super outgoing to have a vision and to have a mission that can empower yourself and people around you. You just might excel more in one-on-one conversations. But that could be really powerful as a way to motivate your team, motivate customers, suppliers, media, investors. So I think I don't know, I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs shy away from it because they feel, well, I'm not an outgoing type A personality, so I can't be the visionary leader. Well, you still can. It's just you're not leading from the front in the spotlight. You're leading from behind, but it's still leading, and you can still get people inspired by what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, yeah. Leadership is, I mean, it's not just about being on the camera, but it's much more about being able to have a vision and be able to rally people around it. Um, it's way beyond just a name or a title you have. It's being able to convey your emotions in some ways about an idea, and really getting people behind it. Um, and if there's, I think, along the lines of the whole idea of failure, there's also like the sister concept in some ways, is like letting go of your comfort, letting go of being too comfortable, or letting go of that need to want to be comfortable. And I liked what Joe Rogan said that was really cool. He said one of the worst decisions you can make in life is to want to be comfortable. It's so freaking dangerous.
It's just a mindset shift because we're
Yeah.
trained to want comfort. We're trained to even just the expression. I refuse to allow my team to tell me at the end when they're leaving, okay, take it easy. It's a common expression like, hey, take it easy. Don't ever tell me take it easy at the end. I'm like, even if I am with my wife or my son or on vacation, I am all in, having an amazing time with my wife and my son, and I'm on my vacation. Doesn't mean that I'm working all the time, but I want to own every moment of my life. So don't tell me to take it easy. Um, I was talking to somebody else on my team about when we build a diet, the advice is all often, okay, throw away all the junk food in your house, throw it all away, so it's easy for you not to have to, snack. If I'm trying to get on a diet and I'm not allowed to eat Doritos, I want to put the Doritos bag right here. Like that to me is strength. Like I'm motivated by that Dorito bag. Like I own you, Dorito bag. Right? Like I don't need to get it out of my kitchen so that I'm not going to eat it. Right? And I think it's in that discomfort that's when you start to grow. Like how am I growing if I have to throw everything away in order to stick to my diet? Like I want the discomfort.
Correct.
And maybe I'm just a weird person who puts the bag of Doritos when you're on a diet right in front of you. But that's how I think. I love that. and
Yeah.
it allows me to stick. Like the pain is good, the discomfort is good. And again, like the more, because most people don't have that in their lives, because our parents and our family and our friends are telling us, be comfortable, take it easy, all the things that seem to make sense. That's where you need to inject this into your life. Like if you want to be a visionary, you have to be around visionary people. You have to inject their ideas into your life. If you
Yeah.
want to live a life like your parents, then hang around your parents. And
Wow.
there's nothing wrong with that. But if that's not what you seek, then they don't have the advice to help you get to where you want to be.
Yeah.
Change
And I'm
everything.
gonna just I was just talking to my good friend John Sanmes from simpleprogrammer.com, and we talk about this idea almost on a daily basis, like chasing our discomfort zone in some ways and going after it. And I know you have him coming up as well pretty soon.
Probably, yeah. John's awesome. He did a review of my first book, and I think wanted to do it again for this one. So John's a great guy. It's awesome to see how great his channel has grown too,
Yeah.
and how he's branched out. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. And yeah, no, he just like what you're talking about, like I'm gonna put the Dorito bag on in front of me. He's kind of like, we're very similar in our mindsets. It's very like I will own this stuff rather than that owning me is the way life goes. All right. Another, I guess we're kind of getting here close to the end of this. We're running on time, running out of time here, Evan. So let me kind of give it to you. Maybe we have not touched on one of the ideas, or maybe there's some idea that you've been hungry to talk about, but I couldn't get it out of you. So what would that be?
I think the biggest thing that I would leave people with is just to make this moment count, to make today count. It's so easy to listen to a show like this, or to read a book, or to watch a summary and then say, "Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do something about it." And then tomorrow's next week, and oh, by the end of the summer or next winter or whatever, and it's always easy to put something off. And when you're in that mode constantly, you never do. You never get stuff accomplished. And so even though tomorrow is only a certain number of hours away, don't accept that. When you get inspired by something, do what Manny did. Put down the book, close the thing that got you the inspiration, and then go do something about it. And what I try to bring is I want every day to make something that my future grandkids are going to be proud to see. So I want my grandkids. I have one son, he's 8 years old. So we're still a ways away from having grandkids. But I want my grandkids to watch this interview with Manny. I want them to watch this interview. And if I didn't do a good enough interview that they want to watch it, then I failed. Like that's the pressure that I put on myself going into every day. If you think to yourself, I want to make something today, I want to make something or do something today that I want my future grandkids to see and be proud of, and you carried that every single day for the next year, your life would be unrecognizable a year from today. It
Yeah.
just would be. People just put things off for too long because it seems like it's so short away, but from today till tomorrow is an eternity. So do it
Yeah.
now.
It's wanting to having a burning desire to leave a legacy is what you are talking about there, Evan. And it's almost like that's the big why behind what you do. You do what you do. Um, uh, okay, so there's a quick question here. There's quite a few questions coming in. By the way, just want to say quick hi to Albert, Jumanzar, Vizi from Moscow, from Uzbekistan, all over the world here, man. But Albert is saying, how do you manage to create or consume time use balance, time versus use balance? I consume book, but I'm not sure where's the limit, if there is any.
I think you at least for me, I consume to the point where I have gotten what I need from it to be able to apply it to my life.
Yeah,
And so that balance might change for whoever you are. For reading the book, I found that one page a day was enough for me. So
yeah,
in 2 minutes, now it's well designed and made for that. Um, I read a book at night, and I'm a slow reader at night.
mhm,
Sure, many can get through it a lot faster. But where do I stop? I stop when I feel like I learned something.
yeah,
And when I learn something, and then I close the book, and then I spend a little bit of time reflecting on it. And it bothers me when I close the book because I've read, 30 pages and I haven't learned anything. And that might be the end of the book. Like if I read 30 pages, I've learned nothing, I might chuck the book, move on to something else. But just like Manny's saying, I learned something and I shut it for 2 hours just to reflect on it. That's when I want to walk away, because at least for me, I can only handle so many new concepts at once.
Mhm.
We've talked about a number of them here. We've talked about four of the different rules in the book. Like, do you guys remember all of them? You're like, probably not, right? And so, like, if there's, even though it's amazing, like going to a Tony Robbins event, I went last year in LA. It's amazing, but you get hit with so much content that there's no time to think about it. And even if you only apply one or two things, that's okay. You've learned from it. It's worth it. The ROI is there.
Mhm.
But I stopped reading when I felt like I've learned something and I want to think on it and reflect.
Yeah.
And then I pick up again the next day.
Yeah, mine is a 80-20 rule here. So I literally say 20% consuming, 80% creating. That's where I'm at now. There was a time when I was spending a lot of time just reading because I was trying to grow myself rapidly. Like I really needed to learn a lot of these ideas, but there was a switch at some point. I said, okay, 20% of my time is enough for reading because I'm a very fast reader slash listener. I can literally get through a 6 hour book in 2 hours. So for me, it's very quick now. But at the same time, it's part of the process where I have to spend a lot more time on building the business in terms of creating the summaries, creating the animations, creating, doing this podcast interview. You can call it consuming as well. Right now, what we're doing here, consuming, but it's also, we are creating while I'm consuming, I guess. That's the fun part of doing what I do.
Yeah, I think
Um,
for both of us, like
yeah,
you have to read books to make your content,
yeah,
right? I have to watch videos to make my content. Like
yeah.
we both enjoy the consuming so much that we've figured out a way to turn the consumption into a business as well.
Yeah, yeah. Dylan Watson is asking, have you got any tips on retaining information learned from reading? Yeah, quite a lot, Dylan. We can go on about it, but one of the most important things is taking action on what you just learned. That's probably one of the best. Other way to do. I think one of the best ways to retain is to actually remember the stories. Don't try to remember concepts. Try to just highlight some of the stories you learned from the book. Those stories will be much easier to retain and remember. Like they will help you tremendously. The stories will stick with you for the rest of your life. Evan, what do you say?
So when I'm reading the book, I'm a mix between, I'll underline I'll underline sections that I find relevant, and then I'll like fold the page so I know I can come back to it. And sometimes there's something that's immediately applicable to my life or my business, and because I read at night, I have to send an email out immediately, because otherwise I'll be up all night thinking about it and I won't go to sleep. So I'll like, if I get an idea that someone on my team needs to do, hey, go do this, please. Let's get this done by tomorrow. And so we'll take immediate action. But maybe half of the things that come up, there's no like, I need to do more thinking about it. I don't have an immediate action item yet around it. And so I just leave it underlined. When I'm done the book, I go back to the same book and I look through everything that's been underlined again to see what did I miss. And I'll usually spend a Sunday afternoon just reading through it, doing some ideation, thinking about it, remembering the action items I did take, and then reflecting on the other things. And it usually leads to a couple more action items as well, because I had time. I had time for more deeper reflection. So it's a slow process though, and I don't read that many books. I read one book at a time, and I don't read that many books on in a year. So it works for me though.
Yeah, yeah. I think we got the answer for Dylan here. So, guys, thank you very much. Uh, Another question here. Both of you create a lot of content. Here's Albert saying, I create guitar music videos. Both of you create a lot of content. How do you prioritize a topic over another? Evan, you tell us.
Uh, so success in content creation or in any business really comes from combining what you love doing with what there is a market for. And this is a constant balance. If you're only doing something that you love, but nobody else cares, you have a hobby. And that might be a really fulfilling hobby. But, me reading, for example, great. Like it's a hobby for me, but nobody else benefits from it because I'm not sharing it. So if you love making videos, but nobody cares, you don't have a business, you just have a hobby.
Hmm.
If you're only doing a thing that there's opportunity, but you don't care about it, you're going to get crushed. Like if I try to make book summary videos, I'm going to lose. Like, so what if it's a huge market? I don't like making book summary videos. I'm going to lose because guys like Manny will destroy me. Right. And so it always have to be that balance. It has to be something that you love doing with what the market cares about. When you can strike that balance, that's when you have a successful business.
I couldn't have said it better. Yeah, prioritizing that topic where you find that intersection between where your passion is and where the market really wants it. So do some keyword research if you have to find out what are the things that the market is looking for, and then go build something that you are interested about building. Or do research on YouTube and see what is popular in terms of the kinds of videos that are being produced on your topic, and then do your take on it. Something along those lines would help you stay consistent with your own messaging, but at the same time know what is out there that's popular that you can uh, create videos on and get a lot of people to watch.
Yeah. So he said he does guitar music, right?
Yep.
Guitar. So if he's
Yep.
doing guitar music, maybe his audience is saying, hey, can you do a video on Metallica? Like, I love Metallica. Can you? And everybody's asking for Metallica. If you don't like Metallica, don't make that video.
Mhm.
Because it'll be the longest video in terms of time to make. You'll hate every minute of it. You're doing it just for the views. You feel like you're selling your soul a little bit to do it. And what's going to happen is you put it out, people then request more Metallica stuff because you put that one out, right? And so now you've just bought yourself a job, is what you've done, which you never want to do. And so if you don't like Metallica, don't do Metallica. And if people are asking for Beatles and you love the Beatles, great, go do the Beatles. And it's that intersection that it's really that simple to be able to decide on what content to create.
Yep, yep. Well, guys, this has been a lot of fun. We talked about an awesome book. I think you should have it by your nightstand so you can go and read a new page every single morning, every single day, and get inspired. So, Evan, really excited for what's to come with this book. Thank you very much for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for the love, Manny, and thanks for all of the education that you're providing, helping spread love and knowledge in the world. I love it.
Nice. All right, guys. Thank you. Bye bye. Dylan, what if you don't know what you like? Well, okay, I will get back to you, Dylan. I'll comment on that question. So, all right, guys. Bye bye.